right, good Thursday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here in the North Georgia Majestic Weather Studios here on the Weather Nerds channel for your update here on your November the 6th. I'm rattled, as you could tell, because I did a whole broadcast and didn't have my microphone on. Be nice if folks could hear me, right? Jeez, just getting old, getting senile. Just one of those things. Anyway, we'll do this again. We'll call that that was my warm up. This is the actual broadcast. So again, welcome back here to Weather Nerds channel. If you're coming here after the live broadcast that I messed up and you're hearing it for the first time and you're not a subscriber, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It'll be an honor and pleasure to be one of our supporters here on the channel. Our motto is real simple: to keep you prepared, not scared. There's enough social media hype out there. And, we don't need enough of that. I mean, you don't need to treat every storm like it's the storm of the century. It kind of deadens the senses a little bit. So anyway, let's get into what we're talking about here for today. Let's look at our highs and lows yesterday. We had our high was there at Rio Grande Village, Texas, 94 down near the Rio Grande. And Grantsburg, Wisconsin, 15 degrees yesterday. That was a cool spot yesterday there up in Wisconsin. So let's talk about what we're going to get into on this update. We're going to talk about some severe weather, a little bit of it. I'm not really overly sold on it, but we got a little bit there on Friday and Saturday to show you across parts of the South. We're going to talk about this winter cold. It's unusual because of where it's coming from and how quickly this thing is going to be a bam, hit and miss, man. I'm talking, it's going to hit you in the face. You're going to go, and it'll be gone. And you're like, what the heck was that? I mean, it's literally going to feel like that. And this is a cold one, folks. So if you have not done any kind of service on your furnaces, or if you're not sure if they're working yet, highly recommend you kind of just double check it. If you're anywhere east of the Mississippi River, you definitely want to make sure you check on that as we this is going to be some serious cold coming our way. So I got our surface map out there. Let's start off with folks up here in the Northeast. We got a little cold front coming on down in here. A little bit of rain up there across New York State this morning. Mid-Atlantic looking pretty good. Southeast not looking too bad. Got some clouds down there, Florida. Pretty quiet there in the middle of the country, except for this storm system, which is going this way. Not a lot of precipitation with this. I was looking at the radars up there. The satellite imagery is a little more robust there. Got some decent rains here across portions of Oregon and into Washington State. But again, we're going to wait for this developing storm system Friday and Saturday. And the one Saturday dropping down is going to really tap some very cold air that's going to come in right over the Hudson Bay. It really means some serious stuff. Let's look at your watches and warnings out there this morning. We do have some fog here across the Texas Gulf Coast area over toward Mississippi and toward the Florida Panhandle and southern Alabama. A little bit of wind energy out here, some high winds out here. Look at a little winter storm warning up there. Isn't that cute? Up there across the extreme northern counties there of Washington State. All right, let's go look at some of these rains out here in Oregon. We got some pretty good rains here falling across portions of Vancouver, Portland, heading on inland here, Centralia. That's a wet commute up and down Interstate 5 for this morning as these waves are coming on. The good news is you folks in the Northwest are going to get a little bit of a break coming your way here, just a little bit as the pattern kind of shifts just a little bit. All right, now as we look at the hurricanes conditions, we got 24 more days out there to be worried about this map. We're all quiet out there in the tropics. Also looking pretty good out there. No development over the next 7 days. We're looking good there. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the thunderstorm threat here. We got a couple things to talk about, so let's go look at here. For today, it's your day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. We're talking Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, maybe a rumble thunders too in here. Not really a big deal, but tomorrow, a little different story. We're going to shift this stuff down to the south. It's been a little bit warmer down here in the south, so we got a little instability, a little bit of heat to kind of fool with this a little bit of wind energy here as well. So we got a slight risk here. Basically going right through the heart of Nashville, Florence, Alabama, going into Bowling Green, Kentucky, a little swat through there. And then we got the marginal risk here from Ohio, stretching all the way back into Louisiana, Alabama, parts of northwest Georgia. And then this will settle into the south here going into day 3. So this is going into your Saturday. South Carolina, big part of Georgia, including metro Atlanta, going over to Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi. So big swath through here. Again, I'm not expecting widespread. Nothing looks too dramatic to me. Maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two. I think most folks are going to not see all that much, but we might see an isolated thunderstorm or two that may give me some brief gusty winds, maybe some small hail, and that's about it. I'm not really expecting a big major event with this. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the forecast model data here. Let's get you going here. We're going to talk about this all down for real this time. And let me see, microphone's working? Yeah, it's still working. You can still hear me. That's very important to hear. a talking face unless you can read lips. That doesn't work that way. All right, so let's go look at the model data here as we take a look at this. Again, we're going to be seeing we got a series of little disturbances that are going to be riding up across the northeast. So here's our one that got exiting here across the northeast. It's pulling out. Here's our next one. You see it back here. It's got to drop over the Great Lakes and moving on down and bring some rain here across the Ohio River Valley into the northeast. And then this piece of energy here, this is the one that's going to be in business. That's the one that's going to really tap some of this cold air up over the Hudson Bay. So it's still wet here on the west coast here for you Thursday a little bit. But notice as you go into Friday, get a chance to dry out here just a little bit before that next system comes in on the tail end of this run, just a little bit here, going up into Vancouver a little bit. But I'll get a little bit of a break. But most of the country is really not that bad, not looking overly wet. In fact, when you look at where the rain's falling here, again, the northwest, obviously the heavy rain's out there. Most of these rains here, quarter inch. You got a little pockets of heavy rains up across the northeast a little bit, but really not looking all that bad. This is a 60-hour loop taking you right about 1 o'clock on your Saturday. All right. Now, as far as the temperatures are concerned, the one thing I want to point out is that we've been relatively mild here for most of the fall. We've had some brief kind of cold snaps kind of here and there, but nothing that's been overly dramatic. What we're going to start seeing, though, is some changes coming as we're going to start tapping some. You're going to see a lot more blue showing up on that map going into early next week. So, again, kind of taping this off here for this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and pause this here for 4 o'clock so you can kind of get an idea. Let me look at these temperatures. We're getting 60s and 70s down here, and to Denver. Denver has not had a lick of snow. They couldn't buy one. It looks like they're going to be setting a record for the latest they've had on record to see any snow. They haven't seen it yet, and I don't see anything coming the next couple of weeks for those guys. Kind of cool here across the northeast, warm across the south, and because of this warm air we got going into Friday, and look at these lows Friday morning. See the 60s, kind of 50s, kind of going up into here. Get a little warm up here. As this little cold front comes in here, we might set off a few thunderstorms here going into your Friday afternoon. So when you look at the Friday afternoon temperatures here, I got 70s here in Arkansas. I got 60s going up in Iowa. So, but the cold air is still up here to the north, okay? But as we get to the tail end of this run here, we go into your Saturday morning, start to see more of that blue showing up here. I mean, really starting to see that. Out here in the Intermountain region, this is the cold air. It's going to start tapping out of Canada, coming out of the Hudson Bay, kind of driving down here to the south as we go into your Sunday and Monday. Those are the 2 days where this stuff's going to really mean business here. So as we look at the jet stream here, I'm kind of looking at the 500 millibar level. It's easier to kind of track the anomalies here, especially with this thing. As we go into Saturday, look at this thing swing on down. It's just unreal. And this is a very cold core. So what we're going to see with this is you guys across Kentucky, Tennessee, North Georgia, maybe North Alabama, into the Smoky Mountains here across North Carolina. There could be some snow with this because this is such a cold core. I mean, we're talking 510 millibars. 510 on the heights, not millibars, heights on that. And then that is some extremely cold air. I mean, if it was in January, we'd be looking at below zero temperatures with this thing. And it's so cold, it's going to squeeze the atmosphere like a sponge, and it's going to dump some snow a little bit with this. Not a ton. But this thing is it's a quick mover. This thing it's swinging. It means business. It's going to dump right on in for Monday. Tuesday will be kind of chilly in the east, and then it warms right back up. So it's going to swing out real quickly. And then as we look at the long range here, just kind of seeing how things are progressing here. Look at the warm up there. And the southwest states warm. The middle of the country again. This has been a good constant theme here. Look going into the 16th. Big warm up there. Cool down here in the northeast. Active in the west. But look, see how the wavy the jet stream pattern is with this. That's what I'm expecting really all winter. I think we're going to have these bouts of extreme cold and warmth in between. And however I think the average will be above normal, but who will care? All you're going to remember is when the cold snap happened and when some big snow event happens. That's what you're going to remember. So, and then we got a big warm up here across the east. Look at this high pressure across the southeast, colder here on the west on the tail end of this run on the 17th. Again, we got to wait for some model continuity on this. Right now, the Climate Prediction Center does cool it down out west long range, but overall it's pretty much on the warm side. All right, so we'll see how this thing progresses here as we get deeper into the month of November. So here we go with our model run here as this is going on through. All right, this is a 7-day run. All right, so we see the systems climbing through the northeast. There's the other one, and boy, you got that big dump here. I mean, look at this thing. This thing means business. I mean, a big cold core here coming right down. Look at it. This is your freezing. Check out what the freezing line is. All the way down here to Florida, man. I mean, we're just tapping some very cold air coming down out of this thing. And we're going to get a little snow, not a ton of it, but we're going to get a little bit out here across Kentucky and into Wisconsin, West Virginia, maybe through the Smokies there. Rainfall amounts, again, a lot of the country's dry except for the West Coast and areas across the Northeast because they got several storms that are tracking through there. It's your 10-day total, but a lot of the Southeast, for 10 days, only getting maybe a half-inch of rain. That's not a lot. By far, not a lot there. All right, and where the snow is going to fall is, again, you're going to see it here across the eastern third of the United States where that cold core comes down. Now, you see a lot of this gray in here. Man, especially across the South, it's been kind of warm. If you've obviously been in the 70s and stuff down here, the ground temperatures are just too warm. We may get a little snow to fall. I think the accumulating snows will be strictly up in the mountains, Smoky Mountains there, especially from West Virginia all the way down into the Carolinas. Very nice up there. And, of course, we'll get some lake effect snows up here as well across the Great Lakes. Pretty limited snows out in the west. Not seeing a whole lot out here. But one thing I was pointing out on my earlier interruption, look at all the snow that's filling up here in Canada. Like, that's interesting. Because the better the snowpack up there to the north, the easier it is to get cold air to kind of build over time. Now, it's not to say they won't warm up and melt that snow off, but if you start getting some decent snows around here and you're seeing 14, 18, 12 inches, 12 inches, 12 inches, this polar low that's dumping into the south is going to rotate right back up into Canada, and it's going to dump a lot of snow. So that's just something to watch, and I pay attention to the snow depths as we go through the winter. Look at these heavy snows out on the West Coast. 66 inches, 51 inches out here, out through the Aleutians. Unbelievable snow out there. All right, so let's talk about the wind. We're going to have a lot of wind energy with this. Sunday into Monday, I do anticipate a lot of wind advisories here across the middle of the country and the eastern third of the country as this cold air comes out. Very tight pressure gradient between the low and the high. It means it's going to be very windy in this. And as we go ahead and take a look at these wind chills are very, very cold. This is for Tuesday morning. You see even seeing a little bit there showing getting near zero here up into the Appalachians. Very, very cold air here. I want to back this up. I want to show I want to break this down for you guys real quick. Hold on one second as I switch on over to this. And I'm going to switch over to the type there. Here we go. All right, so again, I'm going to swing this through. It's a little bit tighter view here. Watching this cold core come down across the Great Lakes. So it's going to be cold into Arkansas. It's going to be cold there across Kentucky. You see the snows coming into Georgia, North Georgia, Tennessee, into North Carolina. You got the snows across West Virginia. But this cold core comes right on back through here and then moves on out and it quickly warms up. Boy, those heights come up. Those red, that's warming. You see it comes up very quickly. And we'll be back in the 60s across it. We're going to go literally from 70s here where I'm at, around 71, 72 degrees on Saturday, to falling into the 30s on Monday, and then back in the 60s going toward Wednesday. So it is really going to be a dramatic shock to the body, to say the least, with some of this cold air coming into place here. So again, I want to show these temperatures coming at us here as we're going to see this cold air come into play. So again, watch what happens here. Look at how much of the country here. This is Sunday morning. See the cold air back up here. Let me switch over to the right model. Here we go. There we go. And you see the cold air here. And look what happens by the time we get to Monday morning. I mean, a big part of the country, you're looking at, maybe about 40% of the country seeing sub-freezing temperatures. A lot of 20s in here. There are going to be some teens too. Tuesday morning looks like it's going to be the coldest morning. As you can see there, going into Tuesday morning, we got near freezing temperatures down here to the Gulf Coast. So this is going to be the coldest morning here going in toward Tuesday morning. That is Tuesday. Turn my time clock back on for you here. But again, this thing warms up. I mean, look by the time, I'm going to take you to your Wednesday. We're back in the 60s here. Look at this. Where we're going to be in the 30s falling throughout the day on Monday. We'll be like Thursday, we're back in the 60s here. And most of the cold air is retreated right on out. So again, definitely hit and run here. So here's your climate outlook here. Again, going out for the next 2 weeks. Cold here across the east, obviously, with a cold shot. We're going to be relatively mild out in the west. Again, this is from Veterans Day right through the 15th. And then we see a big warm up out here for most of the country. Then it kind of cools off out in the west. The miles are sort of hitting at that a little bit. And this might change a little bit more today. Big story here across the east is the dry weather, because we just can't buy a raindrop down here. It's just relatively dry. We're a little wet out here in the west. And that looks like that will continue right through the 8th to the 14th. Dry on the East Coast, wet out toward the west. So again, it's going to be kind of a crazy next week. We got some thunderstorms we got to track here across the south on Friday and Saturday. I will say this, you guys, if you've not done it yet with your heating systems, again, I can't stress this enough. If you haven't turned it on or tried it out, make sure it was okay. Just go ahead and check it. Make sure it's good to go. If you're anywhere across Mississippi River to the east, especially, although Arkansas, you guys will get cooled down too. Right? Basically, cut in the middle of the country, right through the middle, and you're going to see that it's going to be basically anywhere from here to the east. If you're there, just make sure you check your heating systems. If you have not turned them on so far this year, just make sure they're operational, because this is the kind of cold where you're definitely going to need to make sure you can stay warm. Again, I appreciate you guys coming back on board here to see the broadcast. I'm so sorry I forgot to put that little microphone on right there. It helps to turn that thing on, doesn't it? So anyway, good to see some good people out there. Tasha out there, Florence, Edith out there, Lena Flight girl out there, Mick as usual, Julia, good morning. Ryan, good to see you out there. Appreciate you guys checking out. I think I found a new program. I'm going to try to bring the chat function back in the program, something I saw in Streamlabs. I'm going to try to see if I can bring that over, because I really like interacting with you guys to pull up your all's comments and stuff in the broadcast. I have not found a replacement for my chat engine. I really, really, really do. So anyway, that's y'all's update. We'll get you back here tomorrow, get you for your weekend forecast. Till then, y'all be good, and we'll see you tomorrow.